Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here from SimpleProgrammer.com, and I have another interview for you all today. Today I have Evan Carmichael here, who is someone who I've been following a lot. I mean, you can't not follow him if you're watching my videos. I'm sure you've seen his videos pop up as well, because I know that it auto suggests because we got some similar concepts, some similar philosophies, I think, in life. And he's I love Evan's thumbnails. I always catch him and I'm looking at him like, oh, the 10 things from Steve Jobs, the 10 things from, so like kind of all the kind of people that you'd want to get wisdom and advice from. Evan puts out that content on his channel, and recently I just had the opportunity to read a book that he put out, which I just did a video review on. For those of you, we'll put a link to it here, and I'll give you another link a little bit later in the interview. But it was awesome. The one word that and I still haven't figured it out for me. I'm still working on it, but some of these concepts and ideas. So welcome, Evan. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, John. I was just checking out your channel and see we have a lot of common subscribers as well. So I like the cross-pollination, and it's a pleasure to be here with you, man.
Yeah. So just for those that don't know much about you, maybe if you want to give a little bit of your background, just like, where do you come from, what do you do now?
Sure, I'll go through it super quick, and if you want to dive deeper on anything, let me know.
Okay.
I grew up with a lot of entrepreneurial tendencies. I made my first 10 cents when I was 5 years old, selling art with my little sister to our neighbor. And then I got into baseball cards and all of these little entrepreneurial businesses. But I thought I wanted to be a banker. My high school yearbook says you're going to be a banker. Like, where are you going to be in 10 years? Mine said I'm going to be a banker. And it was really because I didn't have entrepreneurs around me. My parents were entrepreneurs. Nobody in my family was an entrepreneur. And so I just thought I would do what was a traditional, safe kind of job. In university, I connected with two entrepreneurs. They had a business. I joined them as a partner in the company and had to make the most difficult decision in my life. Do I go on the corporate path and take these jobs at 80, 100K starting salary, or do this business where I'm making $300 a month? Long story short, I took the business, struggled a lot, managed to turn it around. We sold it 3 years later. Became a venture capitalist, helping raise $500,000 to $15 million for companies who wanted to expand, and then started this thing off my name. It started with my website, then my YouTube channel, then the book, really to inspire, motivate, empower entrepreneurs, because my journey was so hard. I just wanted to make it a little bit easier for other people, and that's been I don't know, a long time, almost 15 years. Holy cow. 15 years this year when I sold my company. That's crazy. I'm getting old.
Wow.
But that's the story in a nutshell. And then the book came out end of last year. Your One Word, basically helping you find the one thing that you stand for, and then bringing that to your business and to your life, so you can have things be with more planning, more purpose, more intent, instead of just following other people.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's interesting. I like the story in your book where you're talking about how you wanted to quit, like, and you're told you showed up the next day or whatever it was, and your business partner, took you back. But that, it seemed like that was like a turning point. Like and I think it's cool what you're doing, because so many entrepreneurs, they're going to face that. And I like that you start off the book with that kind of story, because it's like, okay, this is what it's going to be like. Like if you I think a lot of kids today, they kind of dream, the Hacker News kind of like, I'm just going to build this startup and make millions of dollars like Facebook, and they don't realize what it's actually going to be. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a big letdown for me, because I thought startup life was easy.
Yeah.
Nobody was talking about how hard it was. And I thought I was doing something wrong. I had too much pride and ego to tell my friends that I was struggling.
Yeah.
When I'm making $300 a month and I can't afford to go out to beer and pizza with them, I had to pick one thing a month that I could do. So I'd miss friends' birthdays and miss trips and miss all this stuff. And I would just say, I'm living the entrepreneur life, guys. I'm just too busy crushing on my startup. Meanwhile, I was struggling. I had no money. And so, I definitely was hurting myself on that. But I think too, a lot of the resources and content out there was just, it made it look easy, and it wasn't. And there wasn't,
right.
YouTube wasn't there at the time. There wasn't people it wasn't channels like yours trying to help inspire people to get better and also telling some truths. And so that's part of why I got started on YouTube and with my website, to try to help make it a little bit easier for entrepreneurs.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your one word, believe, because I really like that. That's something that definitely resonates with me. There's in my own history, I didn't know that it was possible to do what we do. Like I didn't know, like it was just my reality, my set point. The people around me were software developers working in cubicles. I didn't think there was some other thing that I could do. And so like, I really like that, the believe because now I believe. And I almost feel like I'm trying to tell other people to believe this thing because they think it's a fantasy. It's not real. What's behind believe for you?
That's interesting. Maybe believe is your one word too. What's behind belief for me? I think it started my parents. They would always tell me I was like a Shirley Carmichael. I could do anything I wanted. So whenever, if I didn't do as well at school as my two sisters did, or if I struggled to get through something, they would always tell me, you're a Shirley Carmichael. My mom's last name is Castrilli, and you could do anything that you want. And so it wasn't just a scolding and like in order to do better, it was pumping up my belief. And that's still a message I pass on to my son, where we have a expression when he goes to bed or when I drop him off. It's like, Carmichaels can't do anything. And so, or he'll say, I'm Hayden Carmichael, I can do anything, just instilling that sense of belief. I think what's really important is when you understand what your one word is, what you want more of in your life, then you need to create an environment that supports it. So if you are, if you want to do something big and your thing is about believe, and you're surrounded by people who don't believe and believe, who are just saying, yeah, you can't do that. You don't have the money. You didn't go to school for that. You don't have the connections. You're just a programmer. You can't go out and do this other big thing. Then, the more you hang around those kinds of people and that's in your environment, then the more you're going to agree with them and think like them and think like that and live a smarter life. Where thanks to, the book and channels like yours, I can hang out with John and watch his stuff every time it comes out. Even though I may never, meet John face to face, you can learn from him and understand his content. And like John is this little spike on your radar. And the more that you do that and surround yourself with people and an environment that kind of builds you up, then it gives you the confidence to believe more, to stretch more, to do bigger things, to bet on yourself instead of playing that smaller life.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's so true. That's so much that environment piece. I think that people don't realize is so critical when you're around the people that are doing what you want to do. Then you believe it, and when you believe it, then you can actually go out there and do that thing. But I mean, my life didn't change until I started. I mean, I remember the first time I met someone who because my whole life I had never known anyone who really owned a business or like did anything online. That's like it's a scam, like right? Skeptical. And then I met this guy, one of my friends, and he had an online business selling Magic the Gathering cards. Nice. And he was making like a couple $100,000 a year. And my mind was blown, and a whole reality opened up to me. And suddenly I actually believed, that maybe that's possible. So.
Yeah. And It's great. It's like sometimes all you need is that one spark.
Yeah.
And how I think about it is, and you too, like every video that you put out could be that one spark for somebody.
Right.
Could be that like meeting with the Magic the Gathering friend that then shifts somebody's perspective to go and say, hey, maybe this is possible for me too. And so that's why I try to do my content. I know it's what you try to do with your videos. It's what I try to do with the book as well. Be that positive source for somebody to latch onto. And maybe the way that you said something in that last video you put out is the little thing that then pushes somebody over to say, you know what? I think this is possible. I'm going to try it. Yeah.
Now, what would you say keeps you going today? Right. Because you said it was 15 years and, you've had successes. I mean, you've had a lot of success, especially recently, but what is the thing that drives you today? Because that's a long haul. That's a long time.
Yeah, it's surprising that it's that long. You know what, for me, and I think this is important. I think it's important to have big goals. So, my next goal on my YouTube channel is I want to hit 1 million subscribers. We hit 600,000 today, celebration day.
Congrats. All right.
My bigger goal is to help 1 billion entrepreneurs. Like that's kind of life work kind of stuff. But as much as the goals are important, I enjoy the work. I enjoy, like, this gets me excited. Sitting down and talking with John today is awesome. You know, I love it. I like the work. So I like doing the videos. I like creating the content. I like inspiring entrepreneurs. And so when you find work that fuels you, it doesn't seem like it's work. I don't wake up every day like, oh, I got to do these interviews and I got to go do more videos and I got to respond to comments. It's like, yeah, who am I talking to today? This is awesome. I'm really pumped up. And so I think Jerry Seinfeld said this well, where you need to find a torture that you can tolerate and you can enjoy. Yeah. So a lot of people would step into my schedule and think it's torture. Like, I can't make 3 videos a day, and I can't be on all day on interviews, and I can't write a book, and it's great. Like, but I like it. And if I stepped into your life, I'd think, man, that's torture. I couldn't do what he does. It's great, but I like the work. And so as much as the goals are important, I think if you really enjoy the process, the journey is much more important than just getting somewhere. That's what keeps me going. Like, I wake up every day, and not every day is like fantastic and amazing and flowers and roses everywhere, but like, I like the stuff that I'm doing on a daily basis. And so when you enjoy it, like, you want to go out and do it again. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. You remind me of I was reading Arnold Schwarzenegger's Total Recall book, and he was talking about, like, it was just inspiring how he was like, his crazy schedule, he just loved it. He just loved it the whole time. Everything, never shied away from the work, and it was just an adventure, exciting. And yeah, it's so true. I think if you don't find a way to love what you're doing, you're not gonna not that you're not ever gonna have hard days, you're not ever gonna have days where you don't feel like doing it, but yeah, it's pretty awesome too. I think that just the YouTube channel, the medium, I really love video, like the ability to, I feel like you can connect with people so much more deeper through YouTube, through video, than you can just through audio or just through writing blog posts. But yeah, and I think so. Like, if either of us tried to step into Arnold's schedule, we would die. Like, yeah. Just, I like going to the gym, but that's on a whole other level. That is crazy. Yeah. But he loves it for him. And I think the other thing that's important is that, what you're interested in can evolve. And so what I was doing 15 years ago wasn't YouTube. I was doing my website. I was doing a lot of seminars. I was doing a lot of events. Now it's more what I do. Like, maybe when you first started your channel, you were just posting your videos and you're like, you know what, I want to interview people. Let's try that. And maybe your first interview was really scary. Like, oh man, I've never done this interview thing before. What if I suck? But like, you push through it and you have a great interview, and then you do it again and again and again. I think it's important that the work that you do evolves as you evolve. Right. If you keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, you're going to get bored of it. So you need to change your business. Your business should always be a reflection of what you're interested in. And so if I get tired of doing YouTube, I'll go do something else. It's easy to be caught up because you've had past success in something to then keep doing it, and then you're like forced to do it. Like, oh, I got to get another video up. If that's how you're approaching the work you're doing, then if you have any kind of asset built up, then I would look to either hire somebody to manage it or sell it, and then you go off and do the next thing that you're really excited about. Yeah, that's great advice for those of you listening, because that almost happened to me with Simple Programmer. I was writing blog posts, just like, and I just got sick of writing blog posts. I even wrote a blog post saying I was taking a hiatus from it, but now I've got a team that manages that, and now I'm here. I'm doing the YouTube because that's what I'm excited about. And maybe I won't be here forever doing that, but yeah, I think that's such good advice, because I really like, and that's the other thing, like in your book too, because you're talking about just this idea, I don't mean to knock someone else's book, but it reminded me a little bit of the Begin With Why. I think that, but yours was, I feel like you took that concept but made it so much more practical, like so much more followable advice for the entrepreneur, which what really hit home with me, because it was like the whole company is an extension of that one, of what you represent, and I'd fought with that myself. I said, no. I mean, I could take my face off potentially, but I'll always be the heart of it, and you can't ever. And I was trying to remove that, and you can't do that. And so that, I think that I really found valuable from your book too. So cool. I appreciate that. Well, I mean, Start With Why is a huge bestseller, and so being grouped with Simon on that is a big honor. I appreciate that. But yeah, you need to evolve your business. Like Simple Programmer is a great YouTube channel. Maybe in 5 years, it's the Simple Programmer virtual reality hangout or something. And there's John with his glasses on, and we're all with him, right? Like you need to evolve your business as you evolve. And this is a great time and place right now. And I never thought I was going to write a book 5 years ago, and here's a book. And so when people ask me, where are you going to be in 5 years, 10 years? I have no idea, 3 months, 6 months, maybe, but 5 years or 10 years, all I know is I want to have a big impact helping a lot of entrepreneurs. That's a core thing that I want to believe in entrepreneurs. That's what I do. How I execute that is always going to change based off of what I'm feeling. And right now I'm really feeling YouTube, and it's been a fun stretch and a good ride, and we'll see how far we take it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I guess I'd ask, there's a lot of simple programmers out there that are interested in entrepreneurship, but it's scary because they've got, especially, I think in the software development field, what we end up having is a lot of the golden handcuffs, right? It's like, well, I'm making a 6-figure salary. And I always hear this, well, I'd have to start a business and it'd have to replace my 6-figure salary. And then I could quit my job. I'm like, I don't know if you, what kind of advice would you give people like that, developers that they want to build something, they want to be an entrepreneur, but they don't know where to start. It seems like a big risk to them.
Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of empathy for people who think that way. Right. And it's a very real thing, like to leave something where you're getting paid 6 figures to then go all in on a business, and maybe you have kids and you're in a marriage and a huge mortgage. Like that can be hard to break free of. I think it depends on your personality. I think some people need to go all in to get anything done. Like if you're a smoker and you want to quit smoking, it's just cut it. That's how I do it. I have to cut it. That's how, or some people are fine like being weaned off of it. So understanding your personality is really important. You don't have to burn the boats. You don't have to go all in. What you do have to do, though, is be consistent. Like you need to make sure that you're carving out time every single day to work on your business. So you get home, you're tired, you have kids, you still have to find time if it's important to you. If you're complaining that you don't, that you're not where you want to be, then are you taking the actions? If you're happy with where you are, then fine. But if you're not happy, then you have to make sure you're spending the time to do it. And so every single day you need to make some action on it. For that kind of personality, I would say I would make sure I'm wanting a job where I'm learning.
Right.
I want to be in a job where I'm learning the skills, not just to do my programming work, but I can get some entrepreneurial skills as well. Normally we have to pay to go to university. We pay to get an education. Here you're getting paid to get an education. And so if you want to be a successful programming entrepreneur, I would work at a company where I'm paying my bills, but I'm also learning. And so I try to get involved in a smaller company and try to take on as many projects as I could to develop my skills. How do I get closer to the CEO founder so I can learn what it takes to run a business? So what can I do to get involved on the marketing side?
Right.
Like go talk to the entrepreneurs. Like, I love what I'm doing. This is great. I'm happy to build it out. I want to really understand what the customers go through. How can I be involved on the marketing side as well?
Yeah.
And so you're learning the skills that you'll need to when you go do your own business full time, and you're getting paid to make mistakes. Like you're going to go in with no marketing background, make all the mistakes in the world, say the wrong thing to the customer, like all of this stuff. You're going to mess up and you're getting paid to do it. It's great. Like better to mess up on somebody else's dime than when this is like everything on the line for you. And so you want to get a job where you're going to learn as well as be able to make money. And then I'd be looking at, okay, how do I start my side hustle? What is it? What's my idea? What am I doing on the side to get my thing going? And how do I be consistent? Most people do a side hustle, but they're not consistent with it. They do it a couple hours a week, and then they stop, and then they come back to it, and like never gets any traction. So you need to make sure that you're plotting that time in every single day, no excuses, whatever it is, to make sure your business is moving forward. Or if you know that you're that personality who needs to go all in, then that's a decision you have to make.
Yeah, that's good advice. That makes a lot of sense. I think there's always that I think you express that dichotomy very, very well, because there's always you're either going to go all in or you're going to start it on the side and then eventually switch to it. But either way, I think, and you hit on this, it requires that consistency. And that's sometimes the hard part, especially I always tell people to trust the process. So I'm curious with you, with your business, especially with YouTube and stuff, because it could be very slow going, right? I think when you first start a blog, you first start some kind of online business. What was it like for you? I mean, did you have stuff that you put out there, blog posts, YouTube videos, or whatever, and it just took off from the get-go, or did you have this period of the slog, the grinding out period, where you're putting out content and you're like, I don't even know if there's results, but I keep on doing it?
Yeah, no,
that traction.
I think it's very rare that like somebody's first thing just pops.
Right.
Even in programming, it's very rare that your first piece of software is going to pop. You gotta beta test it. There's going to be problems. Like the market doesn't like exactly what you're doing. You got to tweak it. I mean, my first company was a biotech software company. So come from that background. I wasn't the programmer, but I get it. Like you think you have this great thing, you put it up and you don't get the results. I think in terms of my, YouTube or speaking career, helping entrepreneurs came from me doing this first event at a YMCA, and it was a free event, and they had an entrepreneurship program, and they invited me to come speak to their entrepreneurs, and they promoted and I promoted, and I spent weeks preparing for this thing. It's like my first thing, and I wanted to deliver tons of value, and they set up this huge room, and 3 people showed up.
Oh no. Yeah.
And like I did all this work, I prepared for so long for 3 people to do a free event, right? Like, how am I ever going to make this a business if I can't get more than 3 people to come to a free thing? And after that initial letdown, I'm like, okay, well, 3 people showed up. I prepared. I should at least do my thing and help these people. And it was awesome. Like, I just loved it. This is why it's so important that you love the process, because if you look at the amount of work that's going to come with creating a successful business, it's overwhelming. It's crazy. It's just nuts. And so if you just see it as work, then you're not going to have success. But if you enjoy the process, or at least most of it, like, did I love doing the accounting? No. Did I love doing like all of this stuff? No. But there was a good chunk of it that I loved. And as I grew, I could hire people to do the other parts that I didn't want to do as much. So it was always a slog. When I started the YouTube channel, I wasn't trying to be YouTube famous. I wasn't trying to hit 1 million subscribers. I was getting questions coming in, and I wanted to answer them in a visual way instead of typing out answers that might take me 45 minutes. And I wanted to do more modeling success type of videos, because that's what really helped me. That saved my business. That helped me get from $300 a month to being able to be acquired a couple years later. And so I wanted to create that kind of content for entrepreneurs. But it was bad at the beginning. Like if I got 1 comment on a video, I'd be like, oh, I got a comment. I got a comment. Woo! I was all pumped up. Like, thank you so much for commenting. And now we get like, hundreds of comments a day on the video. So it was definitely tough, but I still enjoy. It was a grind, and it still is a grind, and I enjoy the grind. And that's the thing. You have to find the grind that you enjoy. So what is that? And that gets you through, so that you don't just enjoy the results of hitting X number of people or getting X number of comments. You enjoy the entire process.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. It's funny how that works too. Like, because and you're so right, because you got to be able to make it through that grind. If you don't enjoy the grind, at least at some point, it's like, I think about playing poker, and it's like you're sitting there folding. that's the grind. Like, you got to, if you can't do that, you can't do the fun parts of the if you can't make it through that part. But yeah, it was the same thing. I mean, with Simple Programmer, I had no idea things were going to blow up like they did, but I just kept on putting out the blog posts. I kept on making the videos. And so when that happens, I think, well, I'm curious too, with your experience with YouTube, because I think when that happens, sometimes, especially, I can imagine, for me, it was a little bit, but some people get it even worse. Like, the world's looking at you and they're like, what are you doing? Did you go through that kind of experience? Like, especially, I know with YouTube, like when I first started doing YouTube videos, like friends and family were like, why are you, like, what are you doing? Like, why are you making videos and posting them on Facebook, or like, and giving people advice? Did you have like that period? Did you have the support? I mean, what were your thoughts on that, or have you faced it with other entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I think so. I call that person a little man. It's in the book. But the little man is the person who just tells you all the reasons why you can't do something. Like, you're in the arena, you're fighting, you're trying to make your dreams happy, and the little man's up in the stands, like, booing and throwing tomatoes at you, where they're too afraid to go do something with their life, and so they have to bring down the people who are trying to do something with theirs.
Yeah.
I think even worse than just other people's expectations, other people saying, "What are you doing?" is yourself.
Oh yeah.
Yourself feeling like a fraud. Like, what am I doing? Well, who am I to give this advice? I think that's the biggest thing. And I think the way to get out of it is back to the question of environment. Like, do you have an environment that builds you up and supports you? You know, just before this, I was on a 1-hour Google Hangout on my channel with Stephen Kelly. He's the CEO of Sage. They do accounting software, like 15,000 employees. And I remember when I first started working with Stephen, I was in a car with my dad, and he asked me, like, why do you think how do you get the confidence to be on the same level as Stephen, where you're both answering questions and you feel like he's equal, because he's built up this huge company? And it wasn't out of like, you're nothing. It was more just genuine curiosity. Like, where do you get that? And for me, I was like, you know what? I didn't even think about it, because the people I hang out with every day are the guys on my YouTube videos. Like, I feel like I'm hanging out with Steve Jobs and Warren Buffett and Bill Gates and Oprah Winfrey every day.
Right.
I consume the content, and I'm around these people every day. And so these other people that I deal with, it doesn't cause me stress. Like, I feel like I'm thinking at a bigger level. And it's not to put anybody down. It's just being around confident people makes you feel more confident. Being around these successful entrepreneurs makes you feel successful. And so I don't get that as much anymore of, well, who am I to give this advice? Because I'm around highly successful, confident people who I just consume mostly via YouTube.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think that's just a great, because I think a lot of people ask all the time, like, well, how do you surround yourself? How do you create? I don't know people. And it's like, well, it could just be books. It could just be those, the content that those people put out. That was it for me for a long time, because I didn't know, how am I going to find entrepreneurs or people making millions of dollars, and why would they want to talk to me? And I mean, so I'm sure you can find that. Like, I would think I could think of how to do that now, but then I just had the books, and the books was enough, because I felt like, the mastermind, the whole Napoleon Hill, I had my own personal mastermind. But
yeah, well, I mean, Bill Gates saved my company. What helped me get out of the $300 a month to building a bigger business was Bill Gates' strategies. And I've never met Bill Gates. I still have a soft spot in my heart for Microsoft because of the impact that Bill Gates had on my business just from reading his stories. And the bigger the name is, the easier it is to find out how they started and what they think and how they believe. And so it makes all the difference in the world. Like, if the simple programmer watching this channel, if you guys listening and watching, if watching simple programmer videos gets you feeling more confident, then subscribe, click the bell, get the notifications, and like every day consume a video. Like, if that's what it takes for you to get pumped up and jazzed and excited, don't wait for some random thing to happen that it comes across your channel. Like, put it into your daily routine.
Right.
If reading a book gets you pumped up, then read a book every day. Right? If watching a simple programmer video or my video gets you thinking bigger, having more confidence, and do that at the start of every day, not randomly on a Thursday afternoon where you might happen to be on the channel. Because that's how you start changing your own programming, your own beliefs, your own mindset, your own attitudes, your own values. When you start creating more successful habits, routines, and a better environment.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's such a good, it reminds me of Tony Robbins with the priming, like in the morning, like just like setting your day. Like if you're planning this out, because it can get away from us, right? If we're not specifically architecting our life, like you have that great idea or that aspiration, and then you forget it and you haven't done anything to follow up on it, and it disappears, and pretty soon it's gone. Like you're not going down the path. So, yeah, it's been definitely been one thing that's been critical for me is having that plan. So I think we're running out of time here, but I want to make sure that everyone gets a chance to check out your book, because like I said, I really found it valuable to me. I'm still kind of debating on the one word. I keep on wanting to cheat and have two words. But I've got some ideas. Maybe some viewers will comment on some ideas. I've been thinking about kind of growth or something like that. But where would you like people to go to, first of all, to get your excellent book, and where can they follow you, find out more? Definitely subscribe to Evan's channel. I definitely will put a link here, and click that button and subscribe, because he's got just, if you like the stuff that I put out here on Simple Programmer and motivational, kind of practical advice especially from a lot of successful people, you definitely will like his channel. So where can people go, and what should they go see?
So quickly, like super quick on your question about two words, I would get it down to one, and one easy way to do it is sometimes there may be something more meta. So as an example, my father was having a hard time with his, because he had adventure. He loves adventure. He loves motorcycles. He loves rappelling down, the sides of mountains and stuff. But then he appreciates kindness and niceness and genuineness. It's like, how do those match? How is adventure and kindness? Like, what do I pick? And when he came up with there's something above it, which was heart for him. So it's heart, like gets your heart pumping, like doing this, but also heart of giving and caring. So if you have a couple words, you may think, is there something that's more meta, that's above your couple words, that really represents who you are? It's like a quick tip. We don't like tons of time to get into it, but something to think about. In terms of the audience checking out the book, wherever you buy books, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, wherever you buy books, it's there. And then follow me on social. I'm on most of the places. I live on YouTube and Twitter mostly, but also Snapchat, Instagram, wherever you are. Look for Evan Carmichael. I'll be there.
Okay. Well, thanks, Evan. It's been a pleasure. You've been, the power of YouTube is so awesome, because, I'm watching your videos and here I am talking. That's one thing for those of you that want to start a YouTube channel. You get to talk to, your mentors and idols and people that inspire you, and that's cool. I mean, it's amazing. So I'm just thrilled to get the chance to talk to you, and I hope that I wish you success on your way to 1 million. I'm almost at my 100,000. So get that silver play button, but I'm sure you're going to get there. So.
I love it, and thank you, John, for everything you do to help entrepreneurs too, and the genuineness that you bring to the videos and interview questions. You can tell you put a lot of heart and love and care into it, and I appreciate that.
Thank you. All right. Take care.